Track 12. Whoa! Whoa, right into it. Okay. Ladies, gentlemen, MBs, welcome back to another reaction. Today we are doing Thank You Next by Ariana Grande, 2019 album. Yeah, kind of odd. I know we just did Eternal Sunshine, which is the most recent Ariana Grande album. This is kind of not in sequence. We're kind of jumping around a little bit. My reason for doing this album now, however, is... I don't know. I actually don't know. We had a couple of people recommend this album, and I probably should have done this one first because this is the album that a lot of people were recommending first off, but I wanted to do Eternal Sunshine because of Wicked, and I wanted to get her, you know, fresh perspectives on life. Now we're kind of going back to fulfill the actual requests, and, you know, we got seven rings, you know, a little bit of a Christmas interpolation there. Thank You Next, you know, you got the Santa Claus hats and whatnot in the music video. A little bit of a wintry Christmas vibe. That's my excuse for doing this one now. So anyways, just gonna hop into it. Again, this is my second experience with Ariana Grande, so don't really need to do my background. As always, we don't read the Genius lyrics for these reactions, so we're gonna read the, you know, look at the lyrics as they pop up on Spotify, but if we miss something, it is what it is. This is the first reaction, not a last reaction, but the thing that I will read on Genius, however, is just the background of the album, so just as a little bit of a framing. So Thank You Next is Ariana Grande's 5th studio album, which arrives just 5 months and 22 days after the release of her 4th album, Sweetener. Okay, wow, this is really quick after Sweetener. So Sweetener was actually almost going to be the next album that I listened to. So kind of interesting that we're doing the sequence backwards from that even. So coincidentally, 5/22 was the date in which the Manchester arena bombing occurred. Oh, I forgot about that happened with Ariana. Interesting. Okay, I'm kind of curious if she mentions that at all on this album. At the very least, if it's, you know, not directly mentioned, I'm sure some of those emotions are going to be prevalent, hidden, baked into this album, even at its core. So gonna kind of look out for that a little bit. Wow, I feel like I almost kind of forgot that happened. That's gotta be a crazy thing to live with. I don't know if she's ever really addressed it from then on, but honestly, I don't blame her for not addressing it if she hasn't, because it's a pretty horrific thing to have to deal with. The album revolves around its lead single and titular track, which is based on a since-deleted tweet Ariana made in response to a joke Pete Davidson made on the two's failed engagement in a promotional clip for Saturday Night Live. This is Ariana's first album in which she co-wrote every track, and that doesn't include any features. Okay, interesting. Some dates about when she released some singles, and just going through this track list, I don't really know too many of these songs. I know 7 Rings. I know Thank You Next. Despite having a bajillion streams, I don't know Break Up With Your Girlfriend on Board. I've heard that song title. I feel like I've seen people post that on as Instagram captions and whatnot, but haven't heard the song. So excited to see what that's about. Lastly, let's touch upon these album artwork. Okay, honestly, I'm glad we zoomed in or clicked on the artwork. I didn't know that it said Thank You Next on her neck here. Okay, kind of some film grain, you know, classic film grain on the album artwork. Bit of a darker vibe. Interesting that there's some sort of Japanese text that looks like too, along with the parental advisory content. I'm kind of curious if that's like a Japanese parental explicit content sticker. Now, one thing I do want to kind of check out real quick is if this is made shortly after Sweetener, I'm assuming that this is going to be kind of like a companion album, whether spoken or unspoken. Okay, so the Sweetener album artwork is also upside down. What does it mean? I don't know, but seems to be kind of the same vibe as that. While Sweetener, obviously in title, and also just the look of the album artwork is a lot more brighter. This one is a little bit more dark, and even just I like that the framing is her kind of pushed back into the frame, so it's a little bit more sunken in as well. I think that's interesting. Again, I don't know totally where she's at in this album other than, you know, what they just mentioned with the Manchester stuff. So I'm not entirely sure who she's dating. I know Thank You Next, she mentions, if I remember correctly from the lyrics that I do remember, she mentions Mac Miller. I think this was probably around the time of his passing. So I'm kind of curious if they were actively, I don't know if they were actively dating during this album or who she was with, but obviously that seems to also be fresh in her mind as well. So I'm going to kind of consider that as well as we get into this. So, and final plug, we do these reactions live on Twitch every Monday at Miyadoa on stream. And if you want unedited and, you know, early versions of these reactions, they're always going to be uploaded on Patreon as well, typically by Wednesday, if not earlier. So if you like that, you know, links to all that's going to be down below. So, all right, let's get into track 1. Thank You Next, Ariana Grande. Let's see what Imagine is going to, how it's going to bring us into this world of this album. Oh. Wow, really just threw us right into the world. Oh, nice pause. Like that wide little granular thing. A little bit of a gyro percussion thing. Nice snap. Trap hat or trap snare. Ooh. Whoa, so much silence. Okay. I'm gonna let this go, but I have a comment. Creep shit, that's how I know it's true. Baby directed, name in the credits, like the movies do. Kill me, but I gotta pause right quick here. I think this track is super interesting, and maybe it's kind of crazy me jumping from Eternal Sunshine to this album, but kind of noticing a little bit of some connective tissue here. I know I said that phrasing in one of the other reactions, but I think it's just kind of interesting of just kind of this vibe of imagining. Obviously, you know, we just discussed the perspective of this album of kind of when this takes place with her relationships and whatnot, and the circumstance that life has presented upon her. I really feel for Ariana. I feel like she's just consistently been dealt really bad hands over and over and over again, and I'm glad to know that, you know, 6 years later in Eternal Sunshine, she still has the optimism to kind of push through it. But it's a shame that this vibe of imagining a world rather than it actually being the world is something that has to be addressed here. Knowing how things kind of pan out in Eternal Sunshine, you know, it's like we're making baby steps, but man, I feel like she's just constantly been getting hit with setback after setback. You know, it'd be one thing if just, you know, some of these relationships fell apart, but obviously, again, like Mac's untimely passing, that's just a really bad hand. So I just thought that was just kind of an interesting connection I noticed just between these albums. I'm kind of gonna pay closer attention to that, see if there's any sort of bigger connections there.
Click, 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 and post. Drip, drip, dripped, and gold. Quick, quick,
Again, obviously these albums are like 6 years separated, so whether intentional or not, I don't know. But something we gotta pick up here. Really sparse vibe here, though. This is just a true R&B thing here. Like, it's quite a bit different than some of the style. Whoa. Whoa. These piano steps are so interesting. The way it's such like a live... Yeah. Oh, the organ too? Whoa! Oh my god! I'm trying to even think how you could even make a sound like that. Where does that even come from? Like, it doesn't even compute with my anatomy. Like, Since strings well. I'm glad that the vocal harmonies are consistent because they popped off on Eternal Sunshine, and I'm glad to know that she was in her bag even 6 years ago. Yeah, that was a great opening track. Sentiment kind of sad. Hang on, I gotta let my cat in real quick. Hang on. Yeah, kind of a shame that this had to be the sentiment behind this. Again, obviously we have the gift of being from the future, and we kind of know how things panned out, and even just from the timeline of this album is kind of one thing. And I'm trying to just judge this as, you know, when it came out, but kind of hard not to use perspective here. But that being said, I think it's packaged really beautifully. Really true R&B vibe. I like the switch up at the end. I think it was just a nice little change of pace that gave it just a nice little uniqueness that I think kind of set it apart. But yeah, great opener. I think that's pretty much what I gotta say. Let's get into track 2, Needy. Don't know this one. Track 2, Needy. Ooh, nice little bell. Okay.
If it takes too long to hit me
Ooh.
back, I can promise you how I react.
I like the tone of these
But all
bells.
I can say is at least I wait for you. Lately I've been on a roller coaster, trying to get a hold of my emotions. But all that I know
Interesting.
is I need you close, and I'ma scream and shout for what I love. Passionate, but I don't give no fucks.
Shouts out my cat Toulouse, which someone in the Eternal Sunshine reaction mentioned that Ariana's dog, I believe, his name's Toulouse. I love that we're really not adding too many elements here. We're really just focusing on the vocal. Ooh, there we go. Airy vocal with like a Reese bass. That first chord is so interesting. Look at your... I love the vibe of this one. Hang on, I gotta run this back. I'm sorry, I was a little bit too distracted by my cat. I was picking up on a lot of the production stuff, but I wasn't totally picking up on what she was saying. The way she came in on that, I need to re-listen to that.
Sorry that I think I'm not enough. And sorry if I say sorry way too much. You can go ahead and call me selfish, but after all this damage I can't help it. But what you can trust is I need your touch. I'ma scream and shout for what I love. Passionate, but I don't give no fucks. I admit that
Wow, that second verse really pulled me in a little bit more lyrically here. I'm really loving how stripped back this song is. I think the vibe of this song is so good at its core that I think I honestly think I know I had a little bit more to say about Imagine, but I might like this one a little bit more even. Oh, beautiful strings. Pizzicato strings along with just the regular string playing. Very majestic. I feel like it kind of a cliche mention here, but I kind of like that it seemed like the instrumentation there kind of got, not totally, just because there's strings doesn't mean it's Disney-ish, but I'm just going to run with this just because I think it's just kind of a fun little headcanon thing. I think it's kind of interesting that it kind of led into like this Disney princessy kind of vibe at the end there. You know, if we're talking about what we're imagining and, you know, the ideal way of how we want things to be, or how that she longs for things to be, whether actually or not, or maybe even what other people expect of her. I don't know if that's intended or not, but it's kind of like a little bit of like a wink and a nudge of being like, of including that there. Maybe should have threw that into, you know, just because it sounds good and it's beautiful. But I don't know. I just think with the subject matter, that's just where my mind is going there. But again, I've already said it. I love that this song really decided to not do a whole lot with production by not doing as much of, you know, doing like these crazy synth runs or doing these crazy production tricks, and just having that simple chord thing going on here with occasional little splicings of some other additional info really provides a lot of clarity to her vocal and a lot of emphasis to what she's saying. And from a production standpoint, I love that. So, you know, we're only 2 tracks in, but I think that one was probably my favorite so far. All right, let's move on to track 3, NASA. NASA, being spacey, spaced out, need space.
I'd rather be alone.
Bro, yo. Whoa, wide added vocal.
I just use my covers to stay warm tonight. Think I'm better off here all alone tonight.
Really cool bass tone.
When I get home tonight, just making sure I'm good on my own tonight. Even though there isn't nothing wrong tonight. Yeah, I'm just saying, baby, I can really miss you if
Ooh. Nice.
It's like I'm the universe and you'll be NASA.
Whoa! Okay, all right, nice. I love that chant. Am I out of pocket for thinking that sounds like a Glorilla like thing? I love the top end of this bass. Okay, that's cool. Bringing in some kind of other analogies here.
It's like I'm the universe and you'll be NASA. You don't wanna leave me, but I'm trying to self-discover.
Ooh. Yeah, that bass tone is so nuts. Beautiful harmony. Yeah, she took the words right out of my mouth there. Ooh. It almost sounded like there was like a bit crushed vocal there for a second. Maybe I misheard that, but just another kind of great vibe. I feel like this one was a little bit more of an empowering one. I feel like the last couple, the last two, I feel like were kind of a little bit of more emotionally turbulent ones. This one felt a little bit more uplifting, a little bit more liberating, just being like, actually standing up, just being like, I need space. I'm just reiterating the words of the song. This is not very thorough discussion dialogue, but I think this is just kind of a bop. I'm going to be honest. To me, this is just kind of a banger. I love the way that she came in with the N-A-S-A.
It's like I'm the universe and you'll be NASA.
I don't know. I think this one was this is like an uplifting song for her, probably to write. Even just like in the vibe, it just feels she's still getting things off her chest, but I feel like it's just a little bit lighter than some of the other songs. So listen, you can't be doom and gloom all the time. You gotta take the bitter with the sweet. This I feel like is just kind of a good case of that. So if she needed space on the perfect song here, if she needed space, she 100% should be the one who should facilitate that, considering her situation. So track 4, Bloodline. This one has a little bit more streams than some of the other tracks. So track 4, Bloodline.
Because I'm trying to do the best I can, and they can't find something to satisfy me.
Who is that? Okay. I'm gonna put a note there. I'm kind of curious about that. Okay, vibes. Different. I like. Okay. Oh, I like that bass drop. The boom. This just the sub bass. Personal preference, I'm not the biggest fan of the kind of horns going on here. I feel like it's very just time period dating a little bit. Again, obviously it is what it is. So when this album came out, I'm gonna pause real quick here. Just because there's cliche stylings of instrumentation, the most notable 80 cents, doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Just is what it is. Not kind of the biggest fan of that sound. Let's keep chugging here. I do like the verse sections though, when it doesn't have that kind of brass section. It's not even anything against brass sections, but it just sounds like synthetic. It doesn't even sound necessarily like real brass. Maybe it is and it's just super duper compressed, but just not the biggest fan of that sound personally. But I do love the way the verse sections go with that bass tone. Sick. But that being said, despite it being kind of a personal preference thing, I can note that this does sound like this could have been a single. Ooh, that even like that bass synth, that was cool. A couple different bass tones playing together. Oh, that ding 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 with like the real bass. Yeah, this song's written really well. Some great counter melodies in addition to her, melodies that she's riffing. Got the instrumental breaks and everything. And in the runs, okay. Wanted to do. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Wow, the bass is so high up. It's not even. That's cool. So that way when it drops and it actually goes down to the actual bass tones, it's gonna open up more. That's cool. Don't want you in my bloodline. Yeah, dude. Okay, she kind of hit the note there. Cool little delay on the outro there. Yeah, not personally the biggest fan of the sound of this one, but that being said, I can see why this one has a little bit more streams than some of the other tracks. It sounds like a pop banger, and despite it not being a single, obviously has the numbers to back it up. So didn't really touch too much on the lyrics. I know I mostly just kind of moped the whole song, being like, oh, I'm not the biggest fan of this is brass styling. But I do want to note one thing about it being called Bloodline. I do think that's interesting, obviously marriage and all that. That's one thing, but who is this at the beginning? Because this is a major key here.
Because I'm trying to do the best I can, and they can't find something to satisfy me. Look.
Okay, I read chat. Chat has told me that is her Nona. So this is the perfect album to listen to after Eternal Sunshine. Because Eternal Sunshine had that first and last track, I believe, right? Of Nona being on there. Bloodline. There is a lot more connection here than initially let on. So I think I'm kind of cooking. I'm kind of cooking with that connection there. At first, I thought I was like, okay, maybe I'm just reaching just because that's the only album I know. But again, we have the gift of being from the future and we can kind of look back. So I think it's really interesting and really kind of beautiful to see how what Ariana thinks truly of her grandmother, that she's including her Nona on multiple songs over multiple years. Obviously, kind of in these candid moments, it seems like she's a very important person in her life. But touching on Bloodline, and I thought that there was actually kind of like the big theme of Eternal Sunshine of maybe I'll just clip what I said in that reaction or something, but because I think I said it a little bit better, but I've just hey, what did Nona say? Let's go. Let's what does she say?
When he'd come home and I'd see him and this gets off that train.
So talking about, like Nona being with, Grandpa, essentially, and talking to Ariana and, kind of reminiscing about that, which, if we're thinking about Nona and her grandfather, Ariana's grandfather, and them making the bloodline, which leads to Ariana, that's... These are sister albums. These are hidden sister albums. Okay, we're only on track 4 with Bloodline. I'm putting like, if we got the pin wall here of connections and me piecing this together of Ariana's lore, Nona is gonna be like blown up in like a huge picture on this big cork board of Ariana lore. Okay, let's move on to track 5, Fake Smile. Oh, cool sample. Ooh. Obviously sample. Okay, we're getting reverbed. Getting a lot of space. Ooh. 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 Okay, that's a cool drop in. Obviously the beginning section was a sample, but I'm curious if this portion is chopped and sampled, or if this is just something played that sounds like it. I love this filter on the bass. Make it pop a little bit more here. Yeah, honestly, yeah, this verse section, the way it drops in is so cool. I wasn't totally sure on that chorus for a minute, but the way it dropped into that verse section, love that. Just touching briefly on the lyrics here, just, you know, fuck a fake smile. Obviously with what Ariana, you know, been through, girl, you don't need to front for anyone. Like, you gotta put all your energy into protecting yourself. You know, you can't be protecting yourself for other people. And I'm glad that she's kind of addressing it here, but I'm glad that she recognizes that of choosing her. So great sentimentality. But I'm gonna run this back to hear that drop. Yeah, that's so hard. Oh, okay. It's crazy. It's getting hard for them to shock me. But every now and then it's shocking. Don't blame me. I know it's the light that I chose. But baby, I'm grateful. I want you to know I'm happy for the love and all of the above. If I'm being she's addressing some of the stuff head on, like that too. I can't fake another smile. I can't fake like I'm alright. Yeah. It's like we're in a standoff right now. Gonna stand off with all the bullshit. The backing vocals, let's go. I love. Okay. I won't talk about what I like, I'll just let you do it. Ooh, nice little bass run. Yeah, I feel like I don't really need to talk more than I kind of already had about this track in terms of subject matter. I feel like she does a great job of just presenting what she needs to here, while making it a bop. But yeah, I'm glad that she kind of addresses, you know, how people are treating her and public perception. I feel like I kind of mentioned in like the Taylor reactions, or, you know, I suppose the Ariana Grande other reaction that I did. You know, a lot of my perception of these artists are what I hear online or on, you know, TV previously. And, you know, I try not to let that bleed too much into my perception of them, but not everyone is going to give these artists the same grace, if at all. And, yeah, I'm glad that these artists take the time to push back a little bit. So appreciate that. Queen of background vocals. Yeah, her harmonies, it's not just that the harmonies are great, which they are. She does some really cool, like, chromatic movements, or even just the way she harmonizes is just really dense and colorful. That's really just the best way I can describe it. I don't know, at least the way she's doing it. It's not just that she's doing it. I feel like it really blends to her style as well, which is another thing. You know, she could be, you know, whipping out crazy chords, and that's one thing. But, you know, it could make for not a really enjoyable song as well. It could be like, okay, Jacob Collier, what you doing here? And I think she's doing a great job. So, no shade to Jacob Collier, by the way. Fortunately, he's just the target. Let's, I think we're about at the halfway point of this album. Bad Idea. Ariana, we've been doing so good here. Let's not get any bad ideas. Hopefully we keep this momentum upwards, but let's see what Bad Idea is about. Okay, kind of keeping this guitar vibe a little bit. Ooh, okay, tempo. I like that the clap is a little bit more faster. You know, it's not a halftime, just right on beat. Okay. Oh, bass. Okay. Oh. Ari-chan. Whoa. Okay, I guess there was Japanese on the cover art. I'm gonna put a pin there. I'm gonna mention something. I'm gonna say something in a minute. I like the bass song here. It's super duper simple, but it's like right in the pocket. Like it's not. There's nothing busy about this. All the elements are perfectly spliced. Then the trap hats come in here on this chorus. Everything else kind of stays the same. It's really just kind of the hats that kind of give the motion. Then we, you know, got the 808 too, but. Oh, vocals? Delay? Nice space here. Now where's this gonna take us? Okay, bringing the strings back. Okay. Whoa. The strings just took the total mix. Come on, drop into it. Okay. Really rocking with this chorus here. This is gonna be a totally different section. Hello? Where did we just get transported? Whoa. Okay. Wait. Okay. I was not expecting that. I don't know where we were going, but it wasn't that. Ooh. Panning. Getting more muffled. Metro! Metro! I gotta add that in the edit. The Metro ad lib. Okay, wow, we're really just on this instrumental rock a little bit. Interesting pacing on this one. I feel like this one really took that chorus idea. You know, we got this whole forget about me, Ari-chan, I got a bad idea section. Whether this might be a pro or con, depending on who, you know, if you like this section or not, cements itself in that section. Really sticks with that. Plays with it a little bit, especially with kind of like this outro bit. I had my fingers crossed here this whole time so I can remember my comment here about the Japanese vocals. Didn't she say, I'm going back to Eternal Sunshine. You're gonna be like in the comments, boy, we are listening to Thank You Next. Let's stop going to Eternal Sunshine. But doesn't she say something about, yeah, we could have Omakase in Tokyo? Another Eternal Sunshine connection there. But yeah, that was a cool little blend there. This styling is very, well, even just the trap, like trap has kind of, I don't want to say totally gone away, but it's definitely not as prevalent as it is. So this is kind of just fun listening back in general. I feel like I haven't really heard, obviously hers more, you know, a trap R&B type vibe. But yeah, this is kind of unk moment, a little nostalgic in a way. I don't know the song, but just the stylings I think is kind of interesting. Just again, looking at it through kind of a different lens here from the future. But yeah, Bop, again, kind of another. Well, I was going to say empowering one, but if she's got a bad idea and she's entertaining that thought, hopefully she doesn't, of this guy, but you try to connect it to Eternal Sunshine, I'm crying. Dude, I want this theory to pay off. We're in the thick of it. We're halfway through this album. You know, we've gotten a couple connections. I just think it's fun. Boy, you just yapping. All right, let's keep rolling. Again, we can tell by the streams. This is a bop. And the streets are also saying this is a bop. So Toulouse, you still hanging in there? He's passed out on my lap. Say hello, Toulouse. Oh my God, looks like Simba. Track 7, Makeup. Let's see where we take this. 2 minutes 20 seconds though. This is probably the shortest song. Yeah, shortest song in the album. Okay, doing these bells again. Interesting bass tone.
I like to fuck with you, just to make up with you. Cause the way you be screaming my name made me wanna make love to you. I might break up with you.
I like the drumming. I like that little fill. Hang on. Right here. Okay. I like the kind of blends of makeup. That's cool. Nice. That bass tone is so interesting. It's so wide in the mix. Like that synth lead on top, just doing some little bleeps and bloops. Okay. I was just about to say I like the attitude of this, and then she said attitude. Oh, good harmony. Okay, that was a little bit. Yeah. Okay, and we get a fade out, which then I'm kind of curious where the direction of the next track is going to go, because if we go a fade out, this gives us the opportunity to not just drop into the next track. You know, we can. This might take us somewhere totally different. This one, obviously the shortest song in the album. I feel like I don't have a whole lot to say because, again, kind of a song that, you know, just kind of spells it out. A lot of repetition with the chorus. Definitely an album track. Not that there's anything wrong with album tracks, but obviously we're looking at stream numbers. Kind of actually interesting that it is as low as it is. I would think because the structure is a little bit more stripped back that this would be a little bit more popular. To quote Glinda, but just a fun bop. I think there's some cool production stylings here. I think kind of, you know, same vibe as some of these other tracks, you know, with the bell sounds, but the drumming, kind of some cool breaks there. Just a vibey. I don't almost kind of argue that this is kind of an interlude type track. Track 8, Ghostin. Again, kind of curious to see. We just had a fade out. Where is this going to take us? Ooh. Whoa, these synths are so big and rich. It's swirling around my head right now.
I know you hear me when I cry. I try to hold it in the night.
Oh, the soundscape with her vocals.
But it's your arms that I need this time. Look at the cause that we've been down.
I know it's just kind of a saying or whatnot, but I was literally talking about the cards that she's been dealt. I'm gonna keep going, but I'm glad she mentioned that. I'm glad she mentioned that and realized that it's not just that she's been through some shit, but you know, everyone's been through shit, but some of the shit that she's been through is like really specific and exclusive to her. And I'm glad that she recognizes that, you know, it's not her fault, or you know, maybe I'm gonna shut the hell up. I'm just gonna let her keep talking here, because I'm sure she'll address it a bit more, but I'm just glad that she recognizes that
I need this time.
that she doesn't cast blame on herself for some of these things.
Look at the cards that we've been down. If you were anybody else, probably wouldn't last the day. Every tear
I love this is called Ghostin' too, and this kind of like ethereal soundscape here.
Baby, you do it so well. You've been so understanding, you've been so good. And I'm putting you through more than one ever should. And I'm hating myself cause you don't want to admit that it hurts you.
Oh, I love her vocal there.
I know that it breaks your heart when I cry again over him. I know that it breaks your heart when I cry again instead of ghosting him.
Oh,
Through this, we'll get past this. I'm a girl.
yeah.
A whole lot of baggage.
Oh, bass tone.
Love you.
There's like this flutter.
Past this, I'm a girl with a whole lot of baggage. Though I wish he were here instead.
Nice strings building.
Don't want that living in your head. He just comes to visit me when I'm dreaming every now.
So this is seemingly addressing her relationship, okay.
And after all that we've been
And that she chose herself.
there's so much to look forward to. What was done and what was said, leave it all here in this bed with you. Baby, you do it so well. You've been so
Ooh.
understanding, you've been so good. And I'm putting
These pizzicato strings once again.
never should. And I'm hating myself 'cause you don't
She really loves that tone.
and if it hurts you, baby, I know
just doing ooh, that high string holding that same note, but an octave up. Oh, I think it dropped. Ooh. Sound like there was a vocal effect there. Wow, we got a big instrumental outro here. Whoa. Just gonna vibe out. We got no lyrics to worry about. Just gonna let the soundscape really soak in here. Ooh. Ooh, cool little vocal chop effect here. Kind of just soak that one in there. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to have a whole lot to say subject matter wise, because I know I'm kind of giving a little bit of a cop out here, but I feel like this isn't really a track for us. This is more so, not even more so, entirely just a song for her. I mean, this is just kind of a manifestation song. This is a looking for a brighter future. This is a, not manifestation. There's a certain word I'm trying to think of here. Just kind of like a mantra. She's kind of just repeating this to herself. And at first, you know, you can kind of make the argument that it seems like she's trying to kind of convince herself of, what's the phrasing? I'm a girl with a whole lot of baggage. Well, that was the phrasing at the end, but you know, she says that earlier of her, you know, seeming that she'll, you know, we'll get past this. And at first, you know, kind of the perspective that she's offering, it seems like she's not you know, she's really in the thick of it. She's really in the thick of it. And I don't know if she totally believes in it and believes her saying that totally at the beginning there. But seemingly by the end, as she's kind of repeating this passage of just kind of talking to herself, we'll get through this, we'll get past this. Hopefully it kind of wills herself to, I don't know how, again, I'm trying to think of really how to phrase this, but realistically, you know, when your back's up against the wall and it's just kind of you versus the world, and you know you can't give up. You really have to kind of convince yourself. You're the only one who can convince yourself to kind of keep moving, and that's just really just what this track kind of feels like. So beautiful soundscape. I'm really glad that I checked that Max Martin also did the production for this album too. I'm glad to know that he can pop off on these kind of different vibes. You know, you think of Max Martin for kind of these big maximalist, you know, pop moments, but I would say that that's pretty maximalist, but Max Martin maximalist, okay. But to do like a maximalist emotional song, that was a beautiful soundscape. So, all right, we're entering single territory here, or just banger territories of songs that we know, and some that we don't, but should know. Let's keep going. Track 9, In My Head. Let's see how we pick up from that. If the last song was her, you know, manifesting these things within herself, In My Head, is it going to be kind of a continuation, or?
Here's the thing. You're in love with a version of a person that you've created in your head, that you are trying to but cannot fix. The only person you can
wonder who
fix
this is.
yourself.
There's a whole lot of voicemails on this album.
Gone on way too long. You know,
Or just kind of outside voices.
2 blocks away, I'm coming over.
Whoa. Whoa, what is his vocal? Super interesting sample, this like reverse vocal thing.
Painted a picture. I thought I knew you well. I got a habit of seeing what isn't there. Caught in the moment, tangled up in your sheets. But you broke my heart. I said you only wanted half of me. My imagination's too creative.
My imagination's too creative, so these could be some things that she's conjuring up within herself. This is a super interesting vibe one. Some real top-end fuzz on this bass again. Skirt, skirt, wow. That was crazy. I wasn't expecting that. Very, very of the times. Painted a picture, I thought I drew you well. Painted a picture, I thought I drew you well. I like the way she phrased that. Am I too music pilled that I saw Cain and Abel and did not think Bible and thought Ethel Cain and The Weeknd first? Maybe it's The Weeknd, but I don't think Ethel Cain totally existed then. Bass is so interesting. I can't not mention it. Look at you, boy, I invented you. Interesting. Whoa. Okay. I like this pitched up, like higher tone, everything, bass and the, you know, drums. Oh, the trap snare roll, but panning. Ooh, nice fill. Oh, I liked what this one did narratively. I think it was very necessary for this kind of progression that she's going through. I think sonically, though, not the biggest fan. Not even that I'm the biggest fan. I'm just kind of a shrug on it. I think some of these other songs did this kind of vibe a little bit better. Personally, I know I haven't really done much of a lyric read through. Let's do a quick little lyric read through. Maybe we're missing something that on a lyric front that might make this connect a little bit more. That might give it a little bit of a +1. But here's the thing: you're in love with a version of a person that you've created in your head that you're trying to but cannot fix. Like these are some great lines, but yeah, kind of some, I feel like reiteration of some sort of sentimentality. I think the way that she phrases some of these words are really beautiful. Paint a picture, I thought I knew you well, got a habit of seeing what isn't there. Bars. I think the writing here is really great, but I just think kind of the sonics behind it, while I just kind of praised Max Martin, I think this one was kind of a little bit too similar vibe sounding to some of the other tracks. This is your favorite? Don't kill me. I'm gonna listen to this again, so maybe I'll have a little bit of a different opinion on this on the second listen, but at least on the jump, that's how I kind of feel about this one. 7 Rings. Okay, this is the biggest song in the album. I'm gonna be honest. I kind of would have figured Thank You Next would have been bigger. I know they're both kind of titans, kind of some gigantic songs, so I mean it's pretty marginal, the difference in streams here when you're at 2 billion and some change, but yeah, I'm probably not going to touch too much on the lyrics on these next 2. I might, because I have heard these songs before. I'll probably point out the obvious mentions, but really going to kind of focus. I've heard these songs out and about, but I've never really listened to this album or these songs with headphones on. So probably going to play a little bit more attention to production here. But hey, we'll point out what we point out. I feel like I always kind of preface saying the production thing and then it turns another way, but just wanted to kind of mention that. But track 10, 7 Rings. You're kind of doing the same similar vibey intro as some of these other songs.
Breakfast at Tiffany's and bottles of bubbles. Girls with tattoos who like getting in trouble. Lashes and diamonds.
I love this interpolation here. Of course, Sound of Music, favorite things, whatnot. But I love this kind of modern twist on it. It's cool.
You like my hair? She thinks. I see it. I like it. I want it. I got it. Yeah, I want it. I got it.
Who?
I want it. I got it.
I don't think I've ever heard that vocal before.
I got it. You like my hair? She thinks. Just bought it. I see it. I like it. I want it. I got it.
Ooh, good vocals. I've never heard this harmony before. Ooh, wait. The dissonance there. That's so interesting. The amount of dissonance on that line there is such a unique way to think about harmony there. Bars. In the bag. When you see them waist, they jacked up like my ass. Oh, I like the switch up of the twinklies on top. Allows the bass to kind of fill up more here. Rapiana? Is that what they call her? Okay. See, I wouldn't have known that. Yeah, this song, honestly, in hindsight, like, it's so stripped back, but as a result, like, it really has kind of all the makings of a hit song. Touching on some nostalgia with my favorite things, doing kind of like a modern blend of that. That's cool. The production pretty sparse. I'm gonna be honest, like the verse sections are usually just kind of the little synth loops and just kind of Ariana's vocal, kind of a trap drop, but again, really kind of the elements, you know, we got a bass hit, but you know, it's nothing's too busy. Everything's really leading to a lot of space, so something really kind of easy to groove onto. Hit pop shit right there. This was interesting with headphones. There's definitely some things that, while I just kind of mentioned all these highlights and pros of it being a pop song and how it kind of performed well and that, there was still some kind of cool, odd production choice things though that kind of give it a little bit of extra spice. Again, like that one line, the dissonance on it. Yeah, like that's so interesting. No pop producer or whatnot would probably ever come up with that. It almost sounds like if you were, I'm not, I know she doesn't. Like if you were to like auto-tune a vocal and like you try to sing a note that's like out of key and it like takes it to like to a note that's outside of the key and it like snaps to it and it kind of creates like this dissonant blend. It almost sounds like that, but obviously from Wicked and what I've heard from Ariana previously, I'm not implying that she uses autotune or whatnot, but I don't know. It's like, I'm just mentioning that because it's such like a unique styling that I'm almost curious if, like, how, I'm just going to try to figure out how they came together to not only come up with that, but also keep that in the song. That's not something that just like comes out. Like I don't know. That's so interesting. Listen, hopefully you get what I'm saying, but yeah, super chill vibe. Totally makes sense that it popped. Track 11, Thank You Next. Kind of going to listen to it with the same lens. Just going to try to understand how this one popped. Now, personally, I like Thank You Next more. Will it be the same opinion with headphones? Now that we're listening to it with a little bit more, you know, under a microscope. Let's find out. Oh, there's so much noise here. Yeah, nice percussion. Just totally, you know, rolled off the low end. Oh, the bass. Yeah. I don't know who Sean or Ricky are. I'm not there yet in the Ariana lore. This is such like a good, I honestly love that. Don't kill me that I just paused right here. I love that where the placement of this song, I feel like a lot of artists put like their most popular tracks at the beginning of the album, but thematically and just the progression that we've got through this album, this fits perfectly here on the album. That bass bend is so sick. There's this interesting like percussion loop thing in the background. It almost sounds like someone's talking. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's something super buried. That's super interesting. That I wouldn't have heard the speakers. Good line. Yeah, flipping the perspective. I love this. Wow. Oh, harmony. Oh. And then cut it to go into his bridge. Ooh. Wait. What was that chord there? That's like so subtle. I wouldn't have even, again, another thing I wouldn't have even heard without headphones. Oh, I love the... Oh, at the lower vocal there too? Ooh. Getting those higher, later plucks? Oh yeah! We're hearing those plucks now in that one section that I pointed out. Now they're kind of isolated. Let's hear those a little bit better here. this chord here. The little bit more dissonant chord over what we have normally. Really cool blend here. Love that. That honestly, I already kind of like the song, so. Okay, I'm gonna get to the last song, and then we can yap a little bit after. Break Up With Your Girlfriend on Board. Again, I've heard of that title. I do not know this track, so track 12. Whoa! Whoa, right into it, okay.
You got me some type of way. Ain't used to feeling this way.
I was not expecting this drop in. Oh.
Now I wanna know how you taste. Usually don't give it away.
Interesting.
But you know I'm already thinking about it.
Oh, good analog synth. Just no. Oh. Okay, yeah. Okay, this is like taking the thank you next like mindset and just like pedals to the metal, just like totally pushing down that lane. I gotta hear this in a car. This bass is so thick, and I love the way the bass totally strips out here. Has this totally basic analog synth tone. So that when the bass hits, oh, the cool harmony. Whoa. This was the third single. Okay, I was about to freak out. I was gonna say this is okay, filter. You can kind of hear the bass since there's still a little bit, but wow, wow, this is so. That's crazy. This is the last song in the album. I mean, I guess you gotta end out on top. But these like pauses. Ooh. Yeah, the doom doom. That's cool. That song was fire for a multitude of reasons. I don't know where that came from. You know, we've kind of had some of these trap dabblings throughout this whole album, but kind of just pick it up and to drop on us at the last track song really kind of feels like the credits rolling type track with kind of the vibe it presents and kind of the way the album was kind of moving previously. Yeah, with it kind of being a little bit more up tempo. It's not just that it was up tempo. I love the way that she kind of played with, you know, cutting out, you know, the beat, playing with the vocals, even kind of her vocal harmonies, you know, they kind of were hopping in and out, panning wide, you know, she really like violated our like sonic space here of taking elements, popping things in, popping things out. That was, yeah, that absolutely deserved to be one of the singles. Kind of crazy three track stack here. 7 Rings, Thank You Next, and Break Up With Your Girlfriend on Board. But yeah, that was a great way to end the album with some kind of tempo there. So I think we're just gonna get into the end album thoughts. Thank You Next, Ariana Grande. Not a crazy long album, you know, at 41 minutes. I mean, I say not crazy long, but it's longer than Eternal Sunshine. But it's kind of as a full album experience from Ariana Grande. I think this was kind of a nice blend of, this was a good lore album for me. That's what I'm gonna say. Reinforce some ideas that I heard from the future. in Eternal Sunshine. I know I'm gonna keep trying to make this connection here. If anyone knows of any sort of connections more than what I mentioned, please let me know, because I love this fun little stupid theory that I've come up with. But that aside, I think this provides some great context just from, you know, if we're gonna listen to anything beyond this album is obviously necessary, as it brings up a lot of things with her past relationships, her kind of addressing those internally, in the public eye as well. And obviously it seems like this is, you know, bloodline, but this is some of these experiences that she's been through are tied to her character now. So all she can kind of do, hopefully, is to try her best to kind of move on from these events. But definitely she's gone through quite a few share of canon events, and I'm glad that we listened to a Future album first, in that I'm glad to know that I feel like her outlook is a little bit healthier and that she's made progress, and I feel like it makes this album a little bit more palatable than if I were to just go into this album and to have the context of what she kind of went through. I think this would be kind of, not to say that takes away from this album being more, you know, touching upon more emotional things, but it's like, okay, you know, a song like Ghostin', like, she can make that song, and I'm glad that she got that out. But not only that, I'm glad that she got that out, I'm glad that she was kind of seemingly able to move on from it. So character development, love that. So okay, I think that's gonna be it. That's gonna be it with me with Thank You Next. Thank you again to everyone who recommended this album. I think we're gonna do just one more album for the year, and I might take a little bit of a week off for the holidays. So we're gonna do a little bit of a Christmas album, I believe, next week, and then you know, hopefully y'all spend some time with your families, or even just want to, you know, go shopping with yourself, or do whatever. Hopefully you just have kind of a restful period coming up here, and I will do the same. I say that, maybe I'll change my mind, but at the very least, you know, there's going to be a Christmas album coming up next week, so look forward to that. And then, of course, let me know. I'm probably going to take a little bit of a break on Ariana. I know it kind of gave you a little bit of a 1-2-fer. There's a little bit of a gap between this one and Eternal Sunshine, but let me know what I should listen to next. I know Sweetener was the album that said that came out a couple months prior. Should I listen to that? Should I listen to, I guess I don't know, her other albums, so put me on, or just other albums in general. I'm kind of all ears to suggestions. So in any case, again, thanks for watching. This is going to be uploaded on Patreon if you want the full unedited version. I don't know how much I'm going to end up editing. I'd never really know how much I'm going to edit these videos until I start doing it, and until YouTube tells me that I, you know, can't have full songs in. So if you want that, that's on Patreon, link in bio. Otherwise, take care. I'll see you guys later.